Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour, Tribunal sacks Adeleke as Osun State Governor, declares Oyetola elected. INEC holds mock elections with Beavers meets resident electoral commissioners in Abuja. ATMs in Abuja crowded as customers lament scarcity of new Naira notes. Away from Nigeria, UN condemns M23 rebel offensive on DRC town as hundreds flee. Hello and welcome to Trust News Hour. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for joining. And now the details. The Osun State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal on Friday upturned the victory of Governor Ademola Adeleke in the July 16 governorship election in the state. The tribunal, in a majority judgment, declares Adegboyega Oyetola winner of the election. The All Progressives Congress candidate in the election, Adegboyega Oyetola, has challenged the election of the People's Democratic Party candidate Ademola Adeleke. The chairman of the panel, Justice Tete Kume, read the judgment of the tribunal on Friday. Hamid Oyegbade reports.
The APC candidate in the July 16 governorship election in Osun State, Adegboyega Oyetola, was dissatisfied with the result of the election as declared by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Oyetola challenged the outcome of the election at the Election Petition Tribunal in Osogbo on the ground of overvoting and Adeleke's eligibility. Delivering the judgment on Friday, the chairman of the panel, Justice Tete Kume, declared Oyetola as the validly elected governor in the election and ordered INEC to withdraw certificate of return from Adeleke. The tribunal cancelled the votes challenged by the petitioners and held that Oyetola got 314,931 valid votes against Adeleke's 290,266 valid votes. However, a member of the panel, P.A. Ogbuli, in his dissenting judgment, disagreed with the majority judgment of the tribunal on the ground that the petitioners did not prove the overvoting claim sufficiently.
They were grateful for the peaceful manner in which the matter was actually conducted. That is all that we heard about it. But the reality on ground is that we are dissatisfied with the judgment as delivered by the chairman in respect of this matter.
He felt that the Beavers report that the other side tendered, should supersede the one that we got and we tendered.
Outside the court, PDP supporters expressed grief over the judgment, saying that Adeleke was elected by the will of the majority of the people of the state.
We voted for Ademola Adeleke in Osun State. We did not rig election. PDP did not rig this election. We voted free and fair election. We are asking our leaders, are we not going to be ruled by our leaders by our voting again? Are we going to be ruled by the leaders that are going to court?
We are surprised that the judgment of the tribunal is a clear miscarriage of justice. There is no better word.
Speaking on his victory at the tribunal, Oyetola lauded the judiciary, appealing to people of the state to remain peaceful.
I believe that we should maintain peace. I believe that members are happy for the victory, so they are not likely to want to, engage in any violence. I only need to appeal to the other party to allow the judicial system to take its full course.
Today's judgment shows that the justice is now starting to be prevailing in Nigeria.
Adeleke lost the Osun governorship election to Oyetola in 2018, but emerged victorious against him in the 2022 governorship election. Hamid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Oshogbo.
In the meantime, Governor Ademola Adeleke said he will appeal the judgment. On his verified Twitter handle, Adeleke called on the people to remain calm. He said he will appeal the judgment and is sure justice will be done. Now, a few weeks to the national elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission says all modalities for smooth conduct of the elections have been put in place. Chairman of the Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, said this in Abuja during a meeting with resident electoral commissioners from the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. Noel Samson reports.
The INEC chairman highlighted the level of the Commission's preparedness for the elections. He stated that all arrangements are made to make sure the country witness free, fair and credible elections.
I am glad to report that movement of materials for the election to various locations nationwide is being concluded. The training of officials will commence shortly. Ongoing consultations with stakeholders will be intensified. Airlifting and delivery of sensitive materials to states of the Federation has gone far. Accreditation of national and international observers and the media is being finalized. Critical service providers in the area of transportation have reassured us of their commitment to efficient logistics for the movement of materials and personnel to various locations, while the security agencies have reaffirmed their readiness for the election.
Yakubu highlights some of the challenges the Commission is facing in the distribution of permanent voters' cards, but reassured Nigerians that additional measures will be taken to make sure everyone collects his or her PVCs.
The Commission is encouraged by the determination of registered voters nationwide to collect their PVCs and the actual level of collection so far. For instance, in Lagos State, which has the highest number of registered voters in the country, the Commission delivered 940,200 PVCs from the recent voter registration exercise from June 2021 to July 2022 for both new registrants and request for transfer and replacement of cards. As at yesterday, Thursday, 26 January 2023, 839,720 PVCs have been collected, representing 89.3% of the total figure of the new cards. This meeting with REX will consider reports from other states of the Federation, and the Commission will not hesitate to consider additional measures to ensure that all citizens have ample opportunity to collect their PVCs ahead of the general election. We wish to assure Nigerians that the Commission will always be responsive to the needs of the electorate.
The Commission has been engaging critical stakeholders to fine-tune ways of conducting credible elections. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
A federal high court in Abuja on Friday dismissed a suit filed by a group seeking the disqualification of the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, from the 2023 general elections. Justice Binta Nyako in the judgment held that the plaintiff, the Incorporated Trustees of Kingdom Human Rights Foundation International, lacked the local standing to institute the case. Justice Nyako held that the plaintiff, having not been a political party nor a member of the APC, had no legal right to file the action. The judge, who also described the suit as an abuse of court process, condemned the plaintiff for filing multiple suits with similar reliefs. She said that Justice Nyang Eko of the Federal High Court had on December 15, 2022, delivered a judgment in a similar suit, during which it was dismissed. Now, an Abuja-bound train from Kaduna derailed from its tracks on Friday, few meters to Kubwa train station. The train left Kaduna at about 1:30 p.m., expected to arrive Abuja by 3:17 p.m. However, the train derailed while approaching Kubwa station. No passenger sustained injury from the accident. A passenger on board the train, Fatima Mukhtar Maje, said that they heard loud sound and later discovered that the train was off track. She said passengers trekked for 10 minutes to the station. Chairman of the board, Nigeria Railway Corporation, Ibrahim Al-Hassan, paid an on-the-spot assessment visit to the scene for first-hand information on the incident.
Past 3 in the afternoon. No, it happened about 3:25 or so. Immediately we got the information. We abandoned everything we did to Russia and see what happened on the outcome there. It's very unfortunate. The accident has affected all the 3 lines. We have 1 main line and 2 sidings here for crossing. And things happened. We are still trying to find out whether it is equipment failure or human error or interference on our side. And you can see we have been here for a time to look at what happened and rather what happened. We have spoken to the driver, we have spoken to the station supervisor here with me, the area commander of the Abuja Kaduna Train Services from the police. We have the full area commander with full compliments of police officers, regular police, the MOPO, the anti-terror. We have them here, and we have been trying to figure out, and we don't want to speculate. We are making our observations.
Barely 3 days to the expiration of the deadline set by the Central Bank of Nigeria for old notes phased out, commercial banks in Abuja are running short of the new currency. Maradia Umar reports that queues in different bank ATM points in the city center have little or no cash to dispense to customers. The report.
As the January 31st deadline draws near, Abuja residents, including business owners, are becoming increasingly reluctant to accept the old Naira note, leaving many with no option but to go in search of the new Naira note. The residents who have reasons to seek the new notes in banks and ATMs say the search is difficult before the January 31st deadline.
Where is this in the world? Which offense did we committed?
Residents from the suburbs of Abuja who left their homes as early as 4 a.m. expressed their frustrations.
I left Zuba since 4 a.m. this morning because the information came yesterday that it's going to happen. So I decided to leave home as early as possible this morning. I first went to Gariki. I didn't see, even at the Zenith Bank there. Try all the possible bets at that Gariki. No one of them were dispensing.
The money issue is very annoying. Like serious, as I am like this, I'm having issue that I need to solve since last week. I could not be able to solve it because of there is no more cash. I have the money, but I can only collect just 20,000 naira. I need to be borrowing ATM. You can see I have more than that. I can bring it out. I have more than 5. I went to go and borrow this money. Please, it's very annoying.
Like me now, since morning, the anger in me is too much. It's too much. I've been working around. I don't even get even 1 naira now to transport go back home. I don't get them. I don't get anyone here as I'm talking to you. And I don't know whether before I go reach to the ATM, maybe they will say unable to dispense cash. So that is one of the problems we are facing again. No one is dispensing along this what is this street? This area 3. No native is dispensing. This is selling bank.
When getting money from the ATM has been frustrating. You can see the crowd of people here, and we are not finding it very easy. Like me, I think I came the first time. I have to go back because of the crowd. The crowds actually scared me, so I have to go and come back. The same crowd I was trying to avoid, I still meet the same crowd. So it has not been easy for every one of us here. If the people in authority can actually shift the date for the masses, it will be a nice idea. You can see now most people have stopped collecting the old money.
The struggle for the new Naira notes in different ATM points in Abuja and environs is so real, as a lot of Nigerians are not happy about the development in the cash dispensation points. Now the question on everybody's lips is, will the January 31st deadline be a reality, as they have gone through a lot of struggles in order to meet up with exchanging old Naira notes with the new ones? Mardia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Similarly, scarcity of the cash is biting harder in Lagos. The commercial nerve center of Nigeria as commercial banks failed to load their automated teller machines owing to insufficiency of the new Naira notes. A cross-section of ATMs visited in Ikeja and environs were not dispensing any cash, either old or new notes. Here's the details.
Many citizens are lamenting scarcity of cash in the country as banks have refused to load their ATMs with the new Naira notes as directed by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. The CBN last year announced January 31st as the deadline for the phasing out of old currency notes of 1,000 Naira, 500 Naira and 200 Naira. In Lagos State, many residents are lamenting lack of cash at the ATMs as well as slow transactions at the banking halls, especially for those hoping to deposit the old currency notes. Speaking to Trust Television, some of the citizens aired their view on the matter.
This is what actually happened in this country. We don't really understand because the CBN president is telling us that there is the new currency in our bank and we don't ever see it.
Still speaking to Trust Television, some of the citizens are of the opinion that the Central Bank of Nigeria should extend the deadline for the phasing out of the old Naira notes.
The new Naira note is not available, to tell you the facts. Even I was at the bank today and I couldn't even access the Naira note. Even at the ATM, even inside the banking hall, you can't get the new Naira note. Even the old Naira note, will tell you they can't even give it out as of today.
So I think they should actually make the time a little longer. Like they should make it a little longer for us to have the Naira note.
It's real to everyone that the money is not reaching everybody. The new money is not reaching to everybody. Last week, since when it has been, I just seen 200 Naira first time, the new 200 Naira. This Wednesday, and last week, that was when I started seeing the 1,000 Naira. So it's rare. The money is rare.
Meanwhile, transporters and traders have stopped accepting the old notes.
Former President of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, and immediate past Governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, have emphasized the need to entrench democratic culture and institutions that will sustain development and security in the country. Speaking at the Port Harcourt International Conference with the theme Deepening Democratic Culture and Institutions for Sustainable Development and Security in Nigeria, Obasanjo noted that although not practicing true democracy, Nigeria has shown its democratic credentials since 1999. The report.
The former president, Obasanjo, said that it is not enough to keep recycling activities and debates around liberal democracy, noting that Nigerians should be prepared to move from democracy to democratization. Obasanjo, who also noted that there are no shortcuts, no quick fixes, no magic wand to fix the country, however, stated that for an enduring and thriving democracy capable of delivering dividends to the people, there must be systematic and continual development and training on democracy for good governance.
Democracy is possible in Nigeria, and we have the capacity to build a culture of democratization. However, we must recognize and accept the fact that it is an evolutionary process with principles.
Former Governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, said the theme of the conference addresses the imperative of enhancing democratic governance for the benefit of Nigerians and the country as a whole.
And from challenges with the institutionalization of our political parties, including our internal party democracy, the conduct of issue-based politics, and the taming of political violence, to the growing influence of money in politics, the many abuses of social media in spreading fake news and hate speech, an unyielding winner-take-all mentality.
Without retracing our political steps to the right direction, the current process will either not produce the right leaders or it will leave so many broken blocks on the path to governance and attract resources and energy away from the task of rebuilding Nigeria.
Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike also urged Nigerians not to allow the 2023 general elections to fail, saying allowing such failure will increase political polarization
exacerbate social fault lines and set Nigeria's democracy backwards.
With 6 consecutive election cycles, Nigeria's electoral democracy ought to have crystallized effective compliance and enforcement of the basic standard rules, processes, and preconditions for successful elections should never be challenging to the independent National Electoral Commission, the security agencies, the judiciary, and the political parties.
The consensus among participants is that democracy is a process and not a destination.
Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, on Friday in Abuja, declared that Nigeria is ready for the upcoming 2023 general elections, despite rumors from some quarters that there will be a likely postponement due to the insecurity in the country. The Speaker gave the assurance when he received a delegation of the International EU Election Observers Mission who paid him a courtesy call in his office. He, however, conceded that there are some delays in the collection of permanent voter cards, but assured that the visiting delegation, that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is working assiduously to ensure that the issues are resolved. On his part, the leader of the delegation, Barry Andrews, commended the Speaker on the role he played in guiding the electoral reforms processes that culminated in the passage of the 2022 Electoral Reforms Act.
Yet another election has come upon us, and I think we're prepared for it. I think those who are saddled with the responsibility of making sure that we conduct free, fair elections have done what they need to do, and starting from Mr. President to the National Assembly, to the INEC officials. I want to believe that the buck now has to be passed on to the people themselves, who have to be vigilant and to make sure that their votes count.
But I'm delighted to lead the EU observation mission. This is our 7th mission, and we were delighted to respond to the invitation from the Nigerian government to carry out this mission with your cooperation, and we're delighted to be able to support Nigerian democracy in every way that we can to make our honest assessments.
There are indications that the People's Democratic Party in Abia may have concluded plans to conduct primaries to elect a new flag bearer on the 4th of February. This comes on the heels of the death of Professor Uche Ikonne, its governorship candidate, on Wednesday. Recall that the Independent National Electoral Commission has subsequently given the PDP in Abia State 14 days to conduct fresh gubernatorial primaries ahead of the March 11th polls. If the party fails to meet the date, it risks going into the election without a governorship candidate. Former military governor of Old Kano State, Colonel Sani Bello, has given accounts of how he survived the July 29, 1966 military counter-coup that led to the death of head of state General Aguiyi Ironsi and military governor of the Western region, Adeyinka Fajuyi. Bello was ADC to the late head of state when the coup took place in Ibadan. The elder statesman featured on Trust TV's program, Reminiscences.
Then after some time, General Rossi himself came out, spoke something to Oguntupe, and then went back to the office. After a few moments, he called back to say the ADC should bring me. So I went to his office. And as I was entering the office, which is like this frontly, he was looking for something. I don't know what he was looking for. I later on found out he was reading something. Probably something about me. I don't know. So
you can watch the full interview on Trust TV on Saturday by 8 p.m. You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Coming up shortly, We'll take a look at why gaining access to airport is difficult for persons with disability. Details of this and more after the break. This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Media Trust Group, in collaboration with the Center for Democracy and Development, presents the 2023 Kano gubernatorial debate, featuring candidates of 4 major political parties: Nasir Yusuf Gawuna of the APC, Bashir Ishaq Bashir of the Labour Party, Abba Kabir Yusuf of the NMPP, and Muhammad Abacha of the PDP. Date: Saturday, 4th February 2023. Time: 10 a.m. Venue: Bayer University Kano New Site. The event is strictly by invitation and no political supporters are expected at the venue.
Media partners: Express Radio 90.3 FM, Nasara Radio 98.5 FM, Freedom Radio, and ARTV Kano.
The debate will be broadcast live on Trust TV and other channels across the country.
At last, the elections are here. Let's turn out en masse on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as President of Nigeria for a renewed hope and a better Nigeria. Vote APC, the party that shows a broom.
The July 1966 counter-coup that toppled the first military government of General Agui Ironsi has one living witness, his ADC. Then, Lieutenant Sani Bello was with him that fateful morning in Government House, Ibadan. For the first time, now Colonel Sani Bello, former military governor of Kano State and multi-millionaire businessman, speaks to Trust Television on how Ironsi and his host, Colonel Fajui, lost their lives and how he survived to tell the story.
As we were jumping to the Land Rover, we had a machine gun fire. Dada rushed back. What happened, Sabija? So he was trying to run away. And we shot him. Who was it? Fajui. They killed Fajui.
Catch up on this bit of living history on Trust Television on Saturday, 28th January between 8 and 9 p.m. and in Sunday Trust, 29th January.
Welcome back from that break. This is the News Hour on Trust Television. Here's a look at the top stories again. Tribunal sacks Adeleke as Osun State Governor, declares Oyetola elected. INEC holds mock elections with beavers, meets resident electoral commissioners in Abuja. Moving on, police in Adamawa arrest 208 suspected criminals with 7 AK-47 rifles and locally fabricated guns, among other dangerous weapons. The command disclosed that out of the number arrested in connection with the armed robbery, kidnapping and rape, culpable homicide, 108 have since been charged to court. Salis Lawan reports.
According to the command, AK-47 rifles, locally made pistol, live ammunition, live cartridges, then gun, pump action, SMG gun, motor vehicle, tricycle, motorcycle, military camouflage uniform, and handbag, among other exhibits, were recovered from the suspect. Parading the suspect at the police headquarters, the Adamawa State Commissioner of Police, Sekiru Akonde, gives an overview of the arrest.
We want to plead. When things are sweet, when you are doing well, that is when you should expect little challenges. And these little challenges, when they come, if you don't deal with it decisively, it gives the perpetrators a larger heart to want to do more. So please, like we always say, when you see something, please say something. You've been doing it. Don't let us relax on our oars. Let us continue to work as a team until we get to the El Dorado of our dream.
According to him, the command's operatives carried out tactical and intelligence-driven patrols, raiding criminal hideouts, rescue operations, stop and search operations, community policing engagement of stakeholders, among others.
2023 election is by the corner. So far, so good. Our politicians have been playing by the rules. Now that we are getting close, I am pleading to them. They should know that before election, there is Adamawa State. During the election, there is Adamawa State. After the election, there will still be an Adamawa State. In everything we do, let us do it with decorum. Let us do it within the ambits of the law. We, as an organization, we are going to give level playing grounds to everybody.
He appreciated the government and people of the state for the continuous support they have been given to the command, assuring that all the suspects will be diligently prosecuted on completion of investigation. From Yola, Silas Lawan, Trust TV News.
The national headquarters of Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, MACBAN, condemns the silence of the federal government and the military authorities over the killings of over 40 pastoralists in Urukubi village of Doma local government area of Nasarawa State. MACBAN, in a statement signed by its National Public Relations Officer, described the silence as reprehensible and total lack of regards to the loss of lives of ordinary Nigerians. The association accused the officers of the Makurdi-based Operation Wildstroke of deploying a drone that killed the innocent pastoralist who went to Makurdi to revive 1,250 livestock earlier impounded by the Benue State Livestock Guards after paying a fine of 29 million naira. Now, persons with disabilities say that they are finding it difficult to access airports in the country, resulting in deprivation, discrimination, and denial of their rights. And the PWDs, however, further stress that difficulties experienced are not only in gaining access to the airport, but also extend to use of other facilities within the airport compared to other able-bodied persons. Ado Musa completes the story.
The starting argument for this coalition of different organizations of people with disabilities is that the rights of their members have been flagrantly overlooked. The starting point is, of course, the difficulty in getting access to airports or airline facilities and services, but it doesn't end there. There have been numerous accounts of outright denial of air travel rights of persons with disabilities, not to talk of humiliation and degrading responses of their request. This is why sensitization to the plight of these persons is key.
We want that we should have mobile elevators so that when we want to board the aircraft, we can't be carrying on our wheelchairs like that. We can just use it as ramp, or we use it as lift to take us to inside the aircraft. And even inside the aircraft, we don't have an accessible toilet. So there should be toilets for wheelchair users. We can wheel ourselves without anybody assisting us.
Our airports are not friendly to people with disabilities. People will struggle much more than others in their effort to access airports. We conducted a study in 6 states in Abuja to understand the extent of access to airports for people with disabilities, and we see a lot of gaps. Based on this gap, what we intend to do is to use our findings, recognizing that there is a National Disability Act, to sensitize stakeholders in this regard and for them to be able to know their role and responsibilities in ensuring that our airports are accessible to people with disabilities.
However, officials of the Yakubu Gowon Airport, Jos, are assuring Nigerians that they are always ready to listen and act on the complaints of customers, including PWDs.
We're open to receive any of the complaints that we need to attend to. We are trained to be very customer friendly in the airport. We synergize with our airline operators, and then we have departments responsible to listen and to accept complaints from any of our passengers vis-a-vis our people living with disability.
Airport personnel, security agencies, among other stakeholders, hope that at the end of the sensitization program, the challenges faced by the PWDs while accessing airports and their facilities will be addressed. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
As part of moves to address food insecurity and reduce food wastage, selected farmers have been trained on agricultural value chains. The training also focused on building the capacity of agri-food vendors in the country through knowledge transfer. Hamid Oyegbade has the report.
Agribusiness is the combination of agriculture and business. This combination gives rise to farming-related commercial activities, which involves all steps required in the production, processing, and the distribution of agricultural goods to the markets. Over the years, most farmers work hard but earn little due to lack of requisite knowledge of business angle. Such instances often discourage youths from venturing into farming. In order to change the narrative, the Department of Agricultural Economics at the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, is training selected farmers as well as postgraduate and undergraduate students of the university on profitable farming.
I plant yam, I plant cassava, I plant everything, I plant plantain. Everything they just spoil. Person they no feedback well.
We are trying as much as possible to ensure that food security is done here in the university, and then we extend it to our community and then to the state.
To improve their food package production such that they can export and they generate more revenue.
The participants said the knowledge they acquired from the training will give rise to innovations in agribusiness. They promised to extend the knowledge to other farmers.
From this program, I'll be able to learn about agribusinesses and agri-food business and how we can find solutions to the problems that agribusinesses face in today's world.
With this project, it will help me to make more practical on my own aspect of project. But personally, I'm working on the effect of contract farming.
So I've learned that agriculture is not only about cutlass and hoes, and we can also go into processing and packaging.
The new agribusiness idea is expected to enhance an improved supply of food, via e-platforms, and enable farmers to maximize their gains. Hamid Oyegbade reporting for Trust TV from Ile-Ife.
The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Isa Pantami, says that Nigeria will attain full broadband connectivity 3 years ahead of its 2025 target. The minister revealed the projection at a press briefing to outline the achievements of the Ministry of Communications under the Buhari administration. The report.
The number of Nigerians living in unserved areas declined from 33.7 million in 2015 to 31.6 million in 2019. The mandate of the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy is to ensure that Nigeria reaches 90% broadband connectivity by 2025. The minister believes the target will be met way ahead of time.
His Excellency President Muhammad Buhari has directed the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation to engage independent consultants to evaluate the performance of each and every ministry and its parastatal and all our sectors of the economy.
But are Nigerians really happy with the services they receive?
The tariff is high now, and I'm not satisfied with this kind of services I get. At times, you're calling, they will just tell you that your credit is finished. Meanwhile, it will still be remaining at times. And then I put data, a month data. After 3 days, I'm seeing that I can no longer browse again or do anything about it.
We spend a lot, but it's so disappointing sometimes because we are not getting what we are paying for. Issues of bank transfer, sometimes even normal making calls. Like somebody just called me now that he tried my number, it's not going. Well, my number is already on. These are the issues.
The cost of making calls or maybe communicating is very expensive or exorbitant. Obviously, nowadays that, job are not forthcoming, you understand? But even that you pay through your nose, it shouldn't be like that.
Equally worrisome to Nigerians is the current internet infrastructure, which may stall plans by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to transit Nigeria to a cashless economy.
They will start, but maybe like 30%, 20 to 30% they will achieve, but the remaining, it will be difficult.
60% trust, understand, can be given to that. But it all depends on the mechanism that has been put in place to ensure that this particular policy that is being embarked upon will become fruitful, understand?
I don't think we will meet up to the standard on a serious note because of poor network services in Nigeria.
However, the minister explains that the cause of poor connectivity is the improper energy flow. Pantami explained that even the ministry is using over 3,000 generators to keep things moving. Responding to allegations that the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, was developed to give the National Communications Commission, NTC, the boot, Pantami stated that there was no intention to strip NTC of its responsibilities.
Is there any effort to deny NCC its power? Certainly not. There is nothing like that.
The minister is therefore appealing to Nigerians to desist from vandalizing and stealing important infrastructure. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
We'll now take a quick break, and when we return, the news hour continues. Join us again. This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Residents of the Federal Capital Territory are hereby alerted to the activities of scavengers, also known as Babambula, which security agencies have identified as a high-level security threat to not only the residents but also to our infrastructure as they perpetrate petty stealing and acts of vandalism on public utilities. More so, they are drug peddlers, serve as spies to terrorist elements, and are ready-made tools for the public disturbances during which they attack people with dangerous weapons. The Federal Capital Territory Administration therefore reiterates that the ban on scavengers, aka Babambula, operating within the Federal Capital City is still in force. These miscreants are advised to stay off the streets of the Federal Capital City for their own good, as defaulters will be apprehended and prosecuted, including parents of underage children involved in these practices. Relevant agencies are carrying out enforcement of this ban as stipulated. Be law-abiding always. Let's together build the FCT of our dreams. Management announcer.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
Welcome back from that break. You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Time now for us to take a look at Business Update, presented by Chiamaka Nwafo.
The National Bureau of Statistics says residents of Kwara and Benue states paid the highest cooking gas prices in December of 2022. A recent report by the Bureau says residents of Kwara State paid an average of 4,915 naira for a 5 kg refill, while Benue residents paid an average of 11,000 naira to top up a 12.5 kg cylinder. The report also reveals that the average retail price for refilling a 5 kg cylinder of the LPG increased by 0.36% on a month-to-month basis from 4,549 naira 14 cover in November 2022 to 4,565 naira 56 cover in December of the same year. It added that on a year-on-year basis, gas prices rose between 27% and 39.78% from December 2021 to December 2022. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission FCCPC has again shifted the deadline for the registration of digital money lenders, otherwise known as loan apps in Nigeria, to March 27th. Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, Babatunde Urukera, announced the extension in a statement released on Friday. This means that many of the unregistered loan apps in the country will continue to operate unfettered until the new deadline date. The extension came a few days before the January 31st deadline, which is also an extension from the first deadline on November 14, 2022. According to the FCCPC database, a total of 94 companies have been registered as of this week, out of which 49 were given full approval to operate, while 45 got conditional approval. And finally, in stocks, the Nigerian exchange NGX closed negative amidst buyer interest and sell-offs as bears dominated proceedings, driving down the broad market. The all-share index depreciated by 0.18% to close at 52,657.88 points. In the same vein, market capitalization declined by 52 billion naira to close at 28.681 trillion naira, while the year-to-date return settled at 2.05%. The stock market has advanced by 1,062.22 basis points since the start of the year. Market breadth closed positive as CAP led 24 gainers and 7 losers, topped by Catix at the end of today's sessions. On aggregate, 171.1 million units of shares were traded in 3,599 deals, valued at 2.34 billion naira. And that's it on business news.
Thank you for staying. Now, let's take a look at stories from the foreign scene. The United Nations peacekeeping mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo has condemned an offensive by M23 rebels in the east of the country that forced 450 people, including women and children, to seek refuge around its base in Kitshanga town. The Kitshanga town attack is a new offensive by rebels who have seized areas of the eastern DRC's North Kivu province in a rapid onslaught since May that threatened the provincial capital Goma. The armed uprising has inflamed regional tensions, with DRC accusing neighbor Rwanda of backing and sponsoring the Tutsi-led rebellion. United Nations experts and the European Union have accused Rwanda of backing the M23. Now, the United Nations Children's Agency, UNICEF, urged on Friday for the release of 13 children who were abducted during a deadly attack in the Democratic Republic of Congo's eastern region this month. In a statement, the agency said 11 boys and 2 girls were believed to have been kidnapped by an armed group during an attack on a village in North Kivu province. On January 22nd, suspected Allied Democratic Forces members killed at least 23 people during an attack on the village of Makugwe and kidnapped several people. A Zimbabwean court granted bail on Friday to 26 opposition party members who were arrested for holding what authorities said was an unlawful gathering. The arrest of Citizens Coalition for Change members, including 2 members of parliament, stoked fears of a crackdown on opposition politicians before a crucial election this year at a yet-to-be-announced date. On January 14, Zimbabwean police fired tear gas at the CCC party gathering in the Harare and arrested its members. The defendants' lawyers argued that the arrests were unlawful as the gathering was at a private space. And in sports news, Brighton have rejected a £60 million bid from Arsenal for midfielder Moises Caicedo. Now, the Premier League leaders are keen to strengthen their squad after Mohamed Elneny picked up an injury in training that could mean a lengthy layoff. Arsenal already have a small squad, and manager Mikel Arteta does not want to jeopardize his team's title challenge through a lack of numbers. And Brighton had reportedly already turned down a £55 million bid by Chelsea for 21-year-old Caicedo. Now the Seagulls sold Marc Cucurella to Chelsea in a deal worth £60 million. Now Yves Bissouma to Tottenham for £25 million plus add-ons, and Neil Maupay to Everton for £15 million in the summer. Earlier this month, Leandro Trossard left them to join to Arsenal for an initial £21 million, and Brighton do not have a financial reason to sell Caicedo. Now, Tour de France great and 3-time world champion Peter Sagan will retire from cycling's World Tour at the end of this season. The 33-year-old Slovakian will continue to compete and is aiming for mountain bike gold at the 2024 Paris Olympics. Sagan won 7 green points jerseys at the Tour de France between 2012 and 2019 and 3 rainbow jerseys for winning the Road World Championships. Let's now take more sports updates presented by Adeni Ajishafe.
Following the historic feat of Nigerian junior curling team in the qualifier for 2024 Youth Winter Olympic Games, President of the Nigeria Olympic Committee (NOC) Abu Gumel hosted the team on Thursday. Team Nigeria youth curlers made history by becoming the first African nation to qualify for the 2024 Youth Winter Olympics. Despite starting the qualifiers in Finland on a losing note, they rallied back to pick the ticket. The president hosted the team at the NOC building and urged them to make the country proud in the competition. 2024 Youth Winter Olympics will take place in Gangwon Province, South Korea. Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, have expressed interest to partner and collaborate with the National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDA, on e-football development to give the e-football sector a robust status in Nigeria. In a bid to develop football, NFF President Ibrahim Gusso led his team, which comprises of General Secretary Mohammed Sanusi and board member Aisha Falode, to the office of NIDA to discuss and reach an agreement on e-football development. Director General of NIDA, Kafshifu Inua, commended NFF for seeking for improvement on e-football, promised to support the NFF in its quest to promote and develop e-football by harnessing the status of the game, which will improve the number of people involved professionally. Many football association bodies in the world have bought into the idea, including neighboring countries like Ghana and Cameroon Football Association. eFootball is an association football simulation video game, free-to-play game rebranded from Pro Evolution Soccer Series to eFootball Series. That's Sport News. I am Adeniyi Ajishafe.
And that's a wrap on the News Hour for tonight. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.